This is a quarter mile down. You will hear things.
How many people died here?
I am feeling a cold chill going up my leg. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of nice.
We are paranormal investigators.
We're gonna figure out what's here and what we can do about it.
Watch as our team of experts crisscross America through the unknown and beyond.
Look at me now, look at me now.
I got to come out twice, for being gay and for talking to dead people.
I have been a tarot card reader for 31 years. You've got Miss Alex, the tech guru. Logan's one of the best mediums I've ever seen. Roz is our researcher. JuJu is our resident witch.
This is a pretty simple seance setup.
More like a gay-on.
From the historic, haunted heartland of Omaha, Nebraska, my name is Brian Corey, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all, young and old, to this very special episode of the world-famous Necronomicast. My guests tonight for a late-night conversation, Ken Boggle, JuJu Bae, Alex LeMay, Logan Taylor, Roz Hernandez, and Rob Eric from the television show Living for the Dead, which is debuting right now on HULU. So I'll have an in-depth conversation with Ken, then later be joined by everybody else on the cast, including Rob Eric, one of the executive producers, as we talk all about this incredible, groundbreaking new show, executive produced by Kristen Stewart. And now calling in on the Newsmaker Hotline, I've got him right here for your listening entertainment, the great tarot card reader featured on Living for the Dead on HULU, Ken Boggle. Ken, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I've been following your career since the old VidiSpace days when I saw
You have not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When I had Elizabeth Saint on. Good old Elizabeth, and had her on the show. And so, yeah, I was a subscriber to VidiSpace, and I used to catch coffee with Ken in the morning.
Brian, that's so kind of you, dude. Thank you. Like, you have no idea what that means to me. You can't conceive of what that means to me. I'm so incredibly humbled. Thank you very much. Has it been okay, or should I apologize for my years of?
In spite of all his years on television, I've been following him. I have him on my show.
Thank you very much.
No, yeah, so that's great, man, to have you on. In fact, you're the first. I was looking through the guest roster over the years, even before I was ever on the show. And there's never been, to my knowledge, a tarot card reader on Necronomicast. So this is super cool.
Yeah, that's strange, but hey, how cool. Tarot Date with Ken Boggle, the show you were referring to, is the first televised program that in television history that focused on tarot as the main theme. Mm-hmm. So that was already television making history, and I'm so proud of that. And then add to it Living for the Dead, which has just been unbelievably great. It's going to break television history as well, because it's the first time that a woman of color and a trans woman and a group of this caliber and this inclusivity has had a voice in paranormal television. So it's wonderful to make television history twice. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Living for the Dead. Now we'll get to that too, because like you said, it's groundbreaking. I mean, there have been other members of the LGBTQ plus community on paranormal shows here and there, but never as a focus of what they bring to the table, what their life experiences are, and not an entire group solely put together for that reason. So yeah, it's incredibly groundbreaking, and it's got great results for sure.
But I was, as you were saying that, I look to the people like Chip Coffey and Adam Berry, and I think of them as pioneers of being queer or LGBT, whatever you like to use, paranormal investigators on television. They in America, they really were the first. And I think that's just awesome, incredibly awesome. And I really hope that they watch this program and see that I, who have supported them for so long, have made them proud. Mm-hmm. Because Chip and I have had a relationship for 10 years now. And Adam and I, we saw each other at cons and things like this. But, I've bought all their books. I've watched all their shows. I supported them big. And I just hope that they watch this now, seeing me do this, and that they're very proud of it. I hope the whole community's proud of it. Well, actually, strike that. I hope absolutely everybody loves it. I hope absolutely everybody loves it. That would make me very happy.
Well, there's a lot to love on the show. And we'll just start talking about that right now. Yeah. What's great about the show too is that it's not your stereotypical run-of-the-mill paranormal show that we've seen a bunch of times before. You've got some different locations, some familiar ones, but it's filmed in such a way. It's not your typical night vision camera. The music's great. It opens almost like a Tarantino film
Yeah, you're so right. I have been a paranormal investigator for 15 years, and a tarot card reader for 31. And I have, for that history, I have met some really great people in the paranormal industry, and they've become my friends. Dustin Perry, Grant, Steve, Tango. And they've talked to me about their experiences filming a paranormal television show. So I went into it thinking it was going to be that, what Dustin's gone through, what Grant's done, what Jason's done. And I kind of got really frustrated because it wasn't that. And so for the first episode, I really struggled because it's like, this isn't at all what I prepared for. This isn't at all what I prepared for. You go from having static cams set up and little handy cams to having actual audio people and cameramen all in the room who were exceptional. They were so respectful. They did their best to be stealthily and to not influence any of the equipment. They did an amazing job. As a paranormal investigator, I have to say that I was most impressed by that, because when you get electronics next to REM pods, what happens? But in this situation, it didn't happen that way. They were very removed. It was almost like being filmed on National Geographic, honestly, because you had all these people. The only thing that made a difference, that is the huge difference between this and other paranormal television shows, is that the amount of camera work used gives you perspectives you would never expect. The way it's filmed in the editing of it is beautiful. I would say this, though. The only time that we really ever had a problem with cameramen is when I was driving that RV, because I cannot drive. And it handles like a lawnmower. And I was doing my best, but I made everybody sicker than a dog. Everybody got sick. And every time they would say, Ken's going to drive, it's Ken's turn to drive, everybody go, like they were so sick over it, because they're like, he's a terrible driver. And I am. And this is a great big RV, and we're going through Las Vegas, and we're going through St. Louis and Louisville and these bigger cities. And, it was a nightmare. So that's the only time we had a real problem with cameramen, because I would hit the brakes and they'd go flying through the RV. You know what I mean? Like, it was horrible. Yeah, but yeah, it's weird traveling the country in an RV with, cameramen, audio men, and an executive producer hiding in the bathroom. It's different. It hits different.
Tell me about like working with this whole cast. You've got Alex LeMay, ghost hunter, and you guys are all paranormal investigators. But Alex LeMay, she's the ghost hunter. Logan Taylor's the psychic. Roz Hernandez, paranormal researcher. We got JuJu Bae as the witch and spirit healer. You as a tarot card reader. When you guys were putting together this cast, or where they were putting it together, they did a really good job of like having diverse kind of backgrounds and different ways to investigate or research or think about the paranormal. That's pretty cool too, because it's not just one perspective shared by, 2 or 3 people. You got 5 people with different backgrounds, different ways to look at life. And I think that brings a lot to the humanness of paranormal investigating.
So the reality is that we are all paranormal investigators, like you said. Alex, the jewel in Alex's crown is that she happens to be a tech genius. Like, there are several times in the series that you're going to watch pieces of equipment that she created. It blows my gourd to watch her, because she looks like this ethereal Stevie Nicks throwback.
Yeah, right.
and you'd expect, like a Goldie Hawn Stevie Nicks goth style. Anyway, But then to see her with like soldering irons and goggles, and she's building EMF detector out of stripper shoes, like. What is happening? So anyway, yeah, that's amazing. So she brings a lot more than just investigating. We all do. Her thing is that she creates amazing tech to use. The thing that I think is most important is the fact that we're all so different. Mm-hmm. Because we come from different backgrounds. I've done paranormal investigating for 15 years. I think Alex has done it for 8 or 10 maybe. And then we all have various degrees of how long we've done it. And we bring to the table different processes, different procedures, and a different perspective. And even having Roz is very into the paranormal. She has been for the majority of her life, but she approaches it as a skeptic. Mm-hmm. And you have to have one of those on the team. And it's great to have the skeptic be the researcher. I think it just worked really well. And then to have JuJu, who comes in as this amazing healer and approaches the thing as, okay, here's our evidence. What makes sense? Let's piece this together. But then how do we heal the situation? It's never been done in a paranormal television show before like that. And I've said it 1,000 times. I've said it in the trailer and in the show that I think Logan Taylor must be the best medium I've ever seen in my life, including me. He beats me. And when we were doing the chemistry test, as a matter of fact, my granny, who has passed away, she said to me, honey, he's got you beat. So you have to slide into a new role here. And I was like, okay, so what if I kind of took the lead? What if I kind of led the group a little bit? And it worked. And I think the ultimate thing that worked was that when we weren't in front of the cameras doing a chemistry test, the 5 of us were congregating. Out of all these people, the 5 of us just gelled and we connected. And it's weird to see 5 totally different individuals who come from various backgrounds come together to form a team like this and have the same goals and have the same drive and have the same respect. And it's beautiful. It's a great casting that they did. And now these people are my friends and I'm so elated. I'm overjoyed by it.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot of fun. One thing that I like about the show too is like you're not afraid to mix a little bit of fun with the fright. And I think I said that on the press junket too, that there's a lot of camp and there's a lot of queer humor in there that as a straight guy that worked for 25 years in musical theater, that I was picking up on. I've heard like this catting around, for years. And it was really fun. I can tell that that's not forced. That's not part of any kind of written script or anything. It's like it's your natural chemistry among people that became friends, just that campiness and fun. And like you were called, what was it? Diane Keaton, because you're, I totally roared at that. I was like, oh man, I feel like I'm back down at the, in the orchestra pit at the Playhouse for sure.
In one episode, she calls me Brokeback Boggle.
Bro, yes.
I died. I came out of my skin. And the trouble with it is that it's so organic and it's not scripted in any way that when somebody says something like that, I come undone. I come in. We had to film a couple of things a couple of times, not like the paranormal stuff, but the other stuff, because I couldn't keep it together. So they call me the Uncle Ken because I'm the oldest one in the group and I'm the one who has to try to pull everybody together. But when they would crack off with things like that, I would roll. I think we filmed one scene of Roz eating a donut for like a half a dozen donuts. And she had no problem with it because they're donuts and this is Roz's coping mechanism, I think.
Right.
But yeah, it was awesome. Tons of camp. But I always say about this show that it's lengthy moments of horror or fright, punctuated by these moments of comedy that allow you to catch your breath. And then through every episode, there's such heart and such human real human emotion that's not contrived or formulated or manipulated or forced. It's beautiful. I am my world's worst critic, and anything I'm a part of, I rip apart. I can make dinner and still destroy it by the time anybody eats it. Like I hate everything about the things that I do.
Right.
But I watched it, Brian, and the reality was I had no notes. None. And I watched, because we got all 8 episodes for 3 days. I watched all 8 episodes, front to back to front, in, out the middle. I stopped in some, rewound it. All 3 days, I think I watched it 4 times, the whole series 4 times, because I was desperate to find something wrong with it. And I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. And I've never been a part of anything like that. I've not. I've always had something to complain about. I blame my mother for that. But I pick apart everything, and I watched it, and from the thing I loved the most was that I got to see things that happened when I was doing something else. Like there's an episode where there's a wheel, there's a sleigh, which I think is hilarious. But I'm sure Roz helped come up with those titles. That's very Roz Hernandez. But JuJu did this amazing thing where she met with this really hard, heavily burdened individual, and I wasn't there. And being able to watch her, now on this episode while I was somewhere else, create a space for this person, hear this person, understand this person, hold him while he was going through a very emotional moment. I came off the couch and I cried because it was just so overwhelmingly beautiful. And it's nice to see things that you didn't get to see. We weren't, with all the 5 different perspectives, we were all doing different things. We would team up and do this, or we would be solo and do that. So it's good. It was great for me to be able to see all those other moments because they were magic, absolute magic.
Yeah. And when you were talking about like long episodes of Fright punctuated by some comedy, there's a lot of compassion in there too. And I know I brought this up during the press junket, but there's an episode early on, and I was so lucky to be able to watch the series 2 before it comes out. Now this podcast episode is dropping, I think on tomorrow, everybody. So if you're listening to it today, it's yesterday.
Spoilers! Oh my God! Spoilers.
But when they haven't on the press junket, and I'm sorry to bring it up, but it really, really hit me. Is like there was a scene where a woman was talking about her non-binary child, and you obviously hit with emotion, kind of reminiscing about your past and how you weren't accepted like that by a parent right away. And it's so heartfelt, and, and the cameras are rolling and they're emoting. And it's like, you don't see real raw emotion on a paranormal investigating show. And paranormal investigations can be full of emotion of all kinds. And when you're, talking to somebody and interviewing somebody and they kind of share that with you, and then you have that reaction, it makes compelling television. It transcends just a paranormal TV show.
I totally agree with that. Although, and I think I said this maybe earlier to some extent when we spoke before, I think Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson and the original cast of Ghost Hunters, I think they approached it very professionally. But for my money, I think they cared deeply. I think they cared deeply. And that is wonderful and great. But what we've done is really pull the curtain back. What Scout Productions did is just expose it. Like there is, like you said, and you're absolutely right about that, Brian, there is a lot of emotion that happens in a paranormal investigation. And in that one episode, you see me as a paranormal investigator go through every single emotion: fear, anxiety, stress, excitement, happy, laughter, donuts, which is a whole feeling. And then you get to see me be absolutely triggered. And I remember that when we were having that moment, when I was having that moment, I had completely forgot there were cameras there. Because I was lost. I was triggered. And when it was over and I came to myself, they took me outside to take a breath of fresh air because it was a lot. And I said to the producers that were there, Rob Eric and David Collins, and a bunch of other people, I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to look unhinged." I was like, I forgot there were cameras there, and I was like, if it looks bad, please cut it out. Don't let me become a meme. and they were very supportive, and they actually held me for a minute, each one of them kind of holding me to get me back together. Then we fixed me up, and then we went back and, you know, had some cocktails, and it was okay. But yeah, you never see that. You just never see that. Not ever.
I wonder what the cutting room floor of Living for the Dead looks like. You know, a lot of paranormal TV shows, they would just cut out hours and hours and hours of nothing happening, hours and hours of nothing happening, hours and hours of nothing. But there's got to be so much like comedy and just human gold on the cutting room floor. There needs to be like an alternative cut so you could see all the fun shit that was cut out.
You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Alex and I get on like, oh my gosh, we get on like sorority sisters. Like we love each other. I love it. We all love each other. That's fact. Even when we don't agree on things, we still love each other. But Roz Hernandez and I, I always say this, we have a relationship. We were at one point married. We got divorced, but we stayed together for the show. It's very Sonny and Cher. You know what I mean? Like she's tall and she's beautiful. And here I am, this short little hairy thing. But our dynamic is that we rip on each other all the time. So the cutting room floor, I'm 100% sure that the best parts of my relationship with Ross are in the trash bin, as they should be, because we just razz each other all the time. And her and Logan go back and forth like you wouldn't believe it. There was never a moment, strike that. There were very few moments where it was any boredom, very few moments of boredom. And I think I'm a little sad because in the Copper Queen episode, something that has never happened to me in a paranormal investigation happened. And it didn't make it to the show. But to me in the moment, it was so mind-blowingly exciting. We were doing it's on the cutting room floor, so I guess I can talk about it. We were doing a spirit board session. And for me, those have rarely ever worked. Mm-hmm. They've rarely ever worked. But it was spelling out a name. And then we were asking if that person was there. The planchette lifted. Like it lifted. And I said, did you feel it lift? And as I said that, there was a bang that sounded like it came from the left side of the room. Well, Logan Taylor jumps up and starts screaming. And I grab him by the pants and pull him back down. I was like, don't leave the circle, you know, because like you're not supposed to leave the circle until you shut down the process. And that was hilarious. But as soon as we shut the thing down, I went over to the piano, which is where we thought it was. And we all went through the piano to make sure there was nothing that somebody had triggered. Mm-hmm. There was nobody in it. And then it hit me. It happened on the other side of the wall. So I ran around the other side of the wall and I took my fist and I pounded the wall. No one told me the wall was made of rock. So like immediately I start going screaming like, oh my God, my hands. And Elaine White is the most amazing showrunner in the world. Elaine White's a genius. She's like, Boggle, you're here to shuffle cards. Do you think you cannot break your hand? Like, do you think maybe? So that all ended up in the cutting room floor. But for me to find no reason whatsoever for this incredibly massive bang, and then it ended up not in the show, I had to ask why. And the response is just that it was absolutely too terrifying, that they wanted to be very measured in how they presented things just for the sake of the audience. Like, you know, this is Disney Plus, you know what I mean? There could be kids watching that. But also I think that it's hard for people to conceptualize of these things really happening. It was hard for me, you know, in 15 years of being a paranormal investigator, I've never had a spirit board react that way, followed by a loud, unprovable or uncreatable sound. And it was just, it blew my mind. I thought but I still respect them for having trimmed it, because I myself find it hard to accept what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we all went through it. We are the Scooby-Doo. We all are the Scooby-Doo. Like we went through that place. I was Velma. We're trying to figure some stuff out.
I was just going to ask.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask if this show's Scooby-Doo, who are you?
They told me that. Yeah, they told me that. They were like, so Ken, you come off. I was like, so how do I come off? Like I was really worried about how I was edited, because I've heard a lot about reality TV,
right? And
how they will edit you to be somebody you're not. So through the whole process of post, I was like, what do I come off like? How do I come off? They're like, you're Uncle Ken, you're fine. And then one of the producers said, Ken, it's the gay Scooby-Doo and you're Velma. I was like, damn it. But it's accurate. It's dead on accurate. Yeah.
Well, for the glasses alone, too.
Yeah. And like Velma had a very, come on, guys, let's get together. Come on, guys, let's focus. You know,
sure.
They were looking for Scooby snacks and being crazy. So yeah, it's great. It's a great show. It's wonderful.
We didn't have the opportunity to see you on your hands and knees, like searching for your glasses though, at any point, right? Like Velma usually.
Bite your tongue because I am sure there'll be a season 2. And if I lose my glasses, I tell you what though,
yeah, there
was a moment where, there was a, what would you say that to? There was a promo we were doing, and I just like a little clip of me and Roz going through this haunted house. And as we were going through the haunted house, we were supposed to see this demon, and then we were supposed to react. Well, Roz said, wouldn't it be cool if I pushed Ken in front of me and then I just ran off? Because like I'm always like, come on, let me help you. Come on, let me help you.
Right.
And she said, no, I just want to shove him in the floor. So when she shoved me in the floor, we had to take it several times because this is just a promo, right?
Right.
I forgot that my cell phone was in my pocket, and I just demolished because I have a Maglite flashlight in my pocket because paranormal investigator.
Right.
And it just smashed and shattered my phone. I said, damn it, Roz, you know. But worth it. It was totally worth it.
So funny. And you're from Kentucky originally, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from Kentucky. I'm from a holler in southeastern Kentucky. And I make the joke going from the holler to HULU all the time. It's crazy how different that is.
I was going to ask, our conversation got off to a bang, so I didn't go back and ask you your background. But growing up in Kentucky, how did you get involved in or what appealed to you? How did you stumble into this career and this life work of tarot readings?
So growing up in the holler, you have a lot of cultural mixing happening, where you know you have a lot of Native indigenous peoples culture. You also have the Appalachian culture as it is, and then you have a lot of Irish culture that's in there as well. A lot of people in where I'm from are, you know, some kind of mix of Irish and indigenous tribe. So you have a lot going on there, and these are deeply spiritual people, deeply spiritual. And I grew up in a house that the backyard was a graveyard, and the house was split level. So my bedroom was on the same level as the graves. And I would lay there at night and I would hear the footsteps. And this is nearly every night. I would hear the footsteps. And then I knew that they were coming, this group of spirits. And it was always the man who came in first, and he would turn around and look into my bedroom. And I would immediately lose it. I would immediately start shivering and just freeze. Not sleep paralysis. I hadn't even got to sleep yet. You know, like I wasn't even like, I knew it was happening. And then he would come in and come to the left side of the bed. And then the 3 women would come in with him, and they would all stand around my bed. And then they would hover over me. And although they didn't say anything, although they just looked at me, it felt like being screamed at. And the reality was that was traumatizing. So I didn't sleep for many, many, many nights. And finally I went to my grandmother's house to visit, and it was just me and Granny there by ourselves because she was my best friend. I loved her. But she said, honey, you look awful, which was Granny's way of saying, I love you. What's wrong? You know,
what's wrong,
being
babe?
a Southern woman, she smoked Doral cigarettes. She smoked cigarettes and she read dirty romance books. And, honey, you look awful. You know, it was Granny's way of saying, what's wrong? And I finally broke down and told her. And she said, don't tell anybody else in the family because you know what your daddy's like. He was a very religious zealot in sociopathic tendencies. She said, you know what he would do to us if he found out? And I said, yeah. And she said, but if you keep it between me and you, Granny will teach you everything she knows. And she did. She did psychic development with me. She taught me what scrying was. She taught me how to read tea leaves, coffee grounds. She taught me how to do, Granny could sit on the back porch in a swing and read a leaf falling from the tree.
Wow.
Like she was so unique. If somebody got bit by a snake, she was out in the field pulling things to make a tincture with, and it just did several different things. She had a remedy for everything, and she was a healer. My granny was a real healer. It was just amazing. But so, yeah, I went back to my parents' house, learning all this stuff with Granny. My Aunt Caroline came in with a deck of poker cards, and she was like, I'm going to teach you how to read fortunes with poker cards. And I was like, oh, cool.
You got a pretty cool family.
Oh, yeah, but we had to keep it all from my father. We had to keep it all away from it. So it's a secret kind of club.
Were they all on mom's side? Granny on mom's side?
Granny was on dad's side.
Huh.
And yes, and my Aunt Caroline was on my mom's side by marriage. So I went back to Granny's with this deck of poker cards. I was like, look what I can do. And she said, honey, that's real cute, but real men use tarot. And I was like, what are you talking? So she said, I'm going to give you some money. I got to go get a new book. You go into the bookstore while I'm shopping, and you get yourself some tarot cards. And I did. That was 31 years ago.
New item at kenboggle.com, a t-shirt that says tarot. What is it? Tarot's for
real
men?
Men. Yeah.
Real men.
Real men use tarot. I'm going to take that.
There you go. That's free for you. Take it.
Thank you.
That's super cool. Well, I'm glad that you had that support system growing up, because having overbearing parent like that could be real traumatic. It could be real stifling too. So you had that outlet with grandma and your aunt, and that's cool. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. My mother is so obsessed with keeping up appearances that she would have always judged that. However, she fails to remember that I've been giving her relationship advice since I was 7 years old. And my father, although he doesn't, he thinks it's a complete evil thing to be doing. My father, in his terrible mental health, still was one of the most intuitive people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, wow.
Like he could walk up to somebody and he would know things that he shouldn't know. You know what I mean? So it was, I grew up in a family of really interesting folks, but thank God for me, I had Granny. Thank God. She saved me. She really saved me. And she obviously changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And smiling down on you right now. Is she still with us, or?
Yeah, no, she's no longer with us in body, but she's with us right now in spirit. And I was just saying to somebody the other day that when I was writing my book, I was writing a chapter about Granny, and I couldn't make it. I cried the whole time. And when I finished it, I sent it to the editor, and she sent it back with revisions and told me to make these revisions. And I called her back and said, I can't do that. I can't look at these pages anymore. Like, this is just too much. And so we struck up a deal where she would put the commas in where the commas are supposed to go and take out more grammar and all that.
But leave the stories and the heart intact.
Yeah, Mary Jo is on it. And I think we should have that finished. I think the book will be finished by winter, but then we're going to start selling it or shopping it, I think they call that, in the springtime. So maybe by summer, there will be Becoming Ken Boggle, the book.
Wow. Well, good for you. Yeah. I mean, it's been fun watching your career, over these years.
If Disney allows it, because in this book, what I did was I told everything, all the bad I've ever done, all the terrible stuff I'd ever done. I know in my heart that if you don't own up to it, people have it over your head. Do you know what I mean? And they can hold it against you. So I told all the truth, 100% of it. In my favor and against it. And in doing so, when you grow up homeless at 15 years old,
oh man,
and you have no family structure, if you don't raise your children, the world will raise your child. And in the process of me being raised by the world, I went through some horrible stuff, and I owned up to all of it. Yeah. So let's fingers crossed that Disney looks at this like a redemption story and not, oh my God, what is Ken thinking by asking us to sell this book,
Yeah. Amazing. I was just thinking while you're talking, like the evolution of Ken Boggle over the years. I mean, homeless at 15, was that like a result of like coming out, or what was that?
Yeah. So, not to be too heavy, but when we were kids, we were abused. We were beat. And anytime we did anything wrong, I think my earliest memory is my father throwing my sister out of her high chair for spilling her milk. Like that's my earliest memory.
Wow.
So it was a very dangerous household. He found out I was gay and threatened my life. For an entire night, I could hear him pacing up and down the hallway, waiting for him to bust in and beat me. So I went to school the next day, and in a total of 6 hours, because of the whole school day, I went to the guidance counselor, said, I have to have a phone. I need a phone book, and I need the internet. I'm going to save myself. And this is at 15 years old. I called Child Protective Services and said, I will not be beat anymore. This is not going to happen. And it's your job to protect me, whether you believe in gayness or not. Because this is Southeastern Kentucky. And some of the teachers that I would say, I have to go handle this. They were like, this is wrong. This is wrong. And it was a different time. And so I, in that 6 hour period, got an apartment, got a job, got emancipated. My parents gave up all rights. I'd called a lawyer, started the process and all that. He called my parents. My parents said, we don't want him. Get rid of it. So I had nobody. I went from 15 to 24 in 6 hours. And, the reality is that, there were hard times. Like I remember skipping school to bus tables and eating scraps off people's plates because I couldn't afford to eat.
Yeah.
And those times are over, thank God. But it was hard, and I think for me, the thing that makes this show so beautiful is that there's a chance that there's a kid out there like me who's going to watch it and say, if he did it, I can do it. Or if he followed his dreams, I can follow my dreams. Or I'm not so bad. Or I'll stand up for myself too, and I'll stop the abuse too. If that happens, I don't care if we ever win an Emmy or not. If that happens, I would be the happiest person in the entire world, because it was different back then. You didn't have pride in Prestonsburg. You didn't have pride in Hippo. You didn't have pride in coal country. You didn't. Yeah. So this show, I hope it reaches people who are like me at that point in my life, and they find themselves less alone.
For sure. How beautiful is that? I was just thinking how groundbreaking this show is, but like I'm 49 and I know I'm a few years older than you, but I just remember like being a kid, when AIDS was, hitting America, and how American culture felt about that and talked about that, and how Hollywood movie stars would hide the fact that they were homosexual because it would destroy their careers, people said. And now in my lifetime, we've gone from kind of that mindset to, like you said, pride festivals and parades. And now we are celebrating the fact that we've got this groundbreaking, brand new LGBTQ plus positive television show. It's not even just positive. It celebrates it. It is what it is. It's look what's happened just in these few decades, and look what's happened to you over these years, man. You've 15 homeless, and now you're on billboards in Los Angeles, and now you're on television shows sponsored, owned by Disney. I mean, this is amazing.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that?
Of course.
My brain cannot conceive. My brain cannot conceive. I can't. The other day when we were starting our press junket day, it was nearly 12 o'clock. We were supposed to be ready by 12:40. By noon, I was still in the bathtub with a washcloth over my face, trying to breathe. And I keep saying the same thing. I keep saying, how is this real life? How is this real life? The fact that there's a 40-foot me and my friends in Times Square. Are you kidding? What kind of life is that? You go from being spit on as a kid and homeless.
Yeah.
The Disney's now your boss, like Walt Disney's now your boss. You know what
right.
I mean? I'm having trouble reconciling that in a real way. My brain is melting over the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, I sure hope you're proud of yourself, because it's a great thing.
I'm not proud of any of the success parts of that. I'm proud that I finally get to contribute to the conversation that the human spirit does not die when the body does. Yeah. That's what I'm proud of. And I'm proud of hard work, because we worked hard. Mm-hmm. And on this show, I'm proud that hard work looks as great as it does. I'm proud of the work. And that's the thing about me, is that you can say that somebody's attractive all day long. You can say how wonderful somebody is, but do they work hard? do they really work hard? And if that's the best compliment I could ever get is what a hard worker, because I think that's a character thing. And for me, character is very important. It's in the end of the day, it's really one of the only things you have is what kind of person are you? And I just want the world to see it in that way and to see how much effort went into it. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the hard work.
Well, I'm proud to have you on the show, man. Like I said, having you on the show and following your career and from the Video Space days and just seeing everything you've accomplished and all the accolades that you're accumulating, it's great to see because you do work hard. You can tell like how hard you work, man. You hustle for sure, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like hustle, getting the job done the right way, professionally, compassionately. So. In a minute, listeners, you're going to hear my press junket with Ken and the other people involved with the show. But Ken, before I let you go here, we can go to kenboggle.com. You've got all kinds of things there. You do readings. We're going to see you on television starting on the 18th on Hulu. Is there anything else? You got the book coming out hopefully in the spring. I mean, let's talk.
Yeah. So kenboggle.com is the place to go. There's merch, tons of really great stuff. There's the Ken Boggle mug and the t-shirts and the candle, which is sold out 100 times. The candles it's amazing. It's all made by hand in Kentucky. There's a Ken Boggle bracelet that's made by Moxie Malas, who a lot of people, if they're in the paranormal industry, will know from conventions, paranormal conventions, the dirty road of conventions. The long, dirty road. Anyway, which I love. Right. I can't wait to get back on the road and do more conventions. But you can go there and get, there's a page for readings. You go, you check out, you see the pricing, why you should have readings. And then there's a form to fill out that goes to my assistant. My assistant schedules it. Thank God for her. But I also teach tarot classes online or in person. And I teach psychic development classes online or in person. So if you want a reading, great. Or if you want to learn how to trust learn how to trust yourself again, learn how to trust your intuition and separate it from your anxiety, fear, and doubt, and just have some confidence in your gut, message me. Let's get you into class and let's help shed some fear and bring you closer to your given gift of intuition.
I love it.
So yeah, kenboggle.com is the place to go. But I always ask people to follow me on social media and to add me as a friend and to know that I will work as hard as I possibly can to give you everything that you need. And I'm not one of those celebrity type people. I'm like the real guy who will say happy birthday and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. And Ken, really, you're definitely one of the good ones in the paranormal world for sure. We needed lots of honest, hardworking, compassionate people doing the right thing in the paranormal world. I'm glad we have you.
Thank you, May. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
You bet. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Ken. Now, sit back and relax for an extra bonus. I'm going to talk to the entire cast of the show in 2 sessions. One of those cool press junkets that I was fortunate to be invited to. So here we go. Enjoy. Fantastic. I'm joined here by Alex LeMay, Logan Taylor, and fellow podcaster Roz Hernandez. It's great to have you all on Necronomicast. I'm super excited to have you. What a treat. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey, boo.
So yeah, Roz, before I talk to everybody else, big fan of Ghosted.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, one of the premier paranormal podcasts out there. And if you're a listener of Necronomicast and you haven't experienced Roz on Ghosted, I extend that invitation to go check it out for sure. Especially the caller episodes; those are great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when this TV show came up, I felt like I was ready to go. I spent so many hours on my podcast talking about the paranormal and learning so much from, especially having on people that work in the field. And when I heard that the show was going to be putting queerness into the paranormal, I was like, I already know how to do that. And a little bit of comedy in there, we're good to go. So it's great because the podcast kind of goes hand in hand with the TV show, and all of the fellow stars of the show are each going to be featured in their own episode this month.
That's fantastic. Like, you know, I really appreciate you guys bringing a different perspective to paranormal television. Now, I know I look like a boring white guy here with my shirt and tie and everything.
Yeah.
But I spent 25 years doing musical theater. So a lot of campiness, all that kind of stuff is old hat to me. So I was really excited to have this different perspective that you all bring to the show. But, you know, a lot of ghost shows have. Alex, you're a ghost hunter, paranormal investigator. So that's on a lot of shows. Logan, psychic, fantastic. And Roz, the paranormal researcher. But you guys were matched up with JuJu, who is the witch and spirit healer, and also Ken Boggle, tarot card reader. So you have like this nice diversity, not only your own personal backgrounds, but also diversity in what you bring to a paranormal investigation. What's it like working with like something like, was it brand new working with like a witch and spirit healer, tarot card, or in your experiences, is this old hat to you?
We've all pretty much seen it, done it. I mean, we get new stuff. There are new encounters, but we were a group that gelled so perfectly together, even though we are all so different, have different skills. It made us all one unit so much stronger. So there were definitely things we encountered that were new for some of us that we weren't maybe necessarily ready for. And having the team of people who knew what they were doing really it got us through it.
It was really special, almost as if this was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best way I could put it.
I think it's so important to have different insights and opinions and backgrounds. And we're dealing with the unknown. And so I think as many different inputs as we can get is important with trying to get to the bottom of these situations as best we can.
So not only having like this diverse cast with interesting backgrounds that you don't see represented very much on paranormal TV, what I liked about the show stylistically too, it's very pleasing to look at. Like great music in the beginning. It's almost like you guys have a Charlie's Angels vibe with Kristen Stewart, you know, kind of telling you your next location. And the way it's filmed, it's surprisingly, like I said, there's some camp in there. There's compassion. It's surprisingly heartfelt too for a ghost investigation show. Can you talk a little bit about like your thought behind bringing something together that is like compassionate and heartfelt, because it's sorely needed a lot in paranormal television?
It was about time, you know, so many paranormal shows. This is absolutely a one-of-a-kind show. It's its own sort of thing, and it has everything you could want from any type of show. It's got the heart, it's got the humor, it's got the scariness, and it's so pretty. When I watch it, I forget sometimes it's not a movie and that it's a docuseries, because you get so lost in how just gorgeous it is and how engaging the story is.
Yeah, you're not relying on the same old kind of night vision this and this shot from here. It is wonderfully shot. You guys all look great on it too. So I don't know what the budget was for hair and makeup and clothing and things like that. But you guys all look fabulous on the show too.
Thank you. That was all us. What are you talking about? Try doing your makeup in a clown motel, but we figured it out. That's what we do. But I think, you know, as queer people, we are, whether people realize it or not, tastemakers. And I think a lot of the way that people talk these days, the visual aesthetics that people see in TV shows and movies, that comes from queer culture. And when you talk about the show being like a queer ghost hunting show, that is something that is important to what this show is. We bring a different viewpoint. The entire lens that the show is seen through is queer. And especially, you know, when you talk about camp, for example, like that's queer. That's what we are.
Sure,
it's our type of humor. And that's what you're going to get with this show, which we haven't seen yet in that type of genre.
Yeah, I haven't heard very many ghost shows talk about, bitch, I'm out of here.
And I was, Brian.
I'm sorry. Alex, I think I cut you off.
Oh, I was just going to go on and say like how special this is. Like this lens that we are able to bring into this paranormal community is so different, and showing up as our authentic selves and being able to have that voice in a paranormal space, I think is very much needed. just for other people to see themselves reflected back and be able to feel a little bit more confident in the things that they're experiencing and being able to talk about it.
For sure. I love that. And what's important when we're figuring out these mysteries that are unsolved, and they're very much human mysteries, I think it's very important, and this show succeeds in this, in showing this diversity of human experience, because it can't just be people that, look like me, going out there and investigating and only seeing the world or investigating the paranormal, these unseen mysteries out there with my vision. It needs to be the all of human experience, all kinds of diverse opinions, all kinds of diverse backgrounds that are really going to help, make any kind of sense whatsoever of what's going on out there in the dark.
That's what this show is, honey.
Yeah.
October 18th.
Basically. I think it's truly beautiful. And I think it's going to be changing for the paranormal world and maybe helping other networks or other shows expand a little bit and give voices to those who wouldn't normally be on paranormal shows. So I'm looking forward to it possibly changing the future of paranormal.
For sure, because when we're out there investigating the paranormal or thinking about people that have persisted after bodily death, whatever that means, we're out there trying to give a voice to those that have lost their voice. And what a wonderful thing for underrepresented people in society to be able to help people find their voice. I think it's a great thing. And the concept of the show is smart. It is a ghost show. So when I say things like it's funny, it's camp, there's some chills in there. There's fright. All your experiences. I'm not going to give too much away. I had the opportunity to watch the episodes, and I thought it's a wonderful addition to paranormal programming that's out there. And I'm glad that it's out there. And whoever thought this all up, Kristen Stewart or the executive producers, and gave it the green light. It's brave, it's honest, and it's necessary out there. And I think everybody should give it a chance for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, it worked.
And how many donuts did you have on this journey, Roz?
A lot of times you watch TV shows and movies and there's a spit bucket where someone is off camera spitting it out. I did not. I went for it. I swallowed each and every one of those damn donuts. And I lost count for sure. I know there was one episode where I said, this is my third one today. Don't believe that. That was not my third one that day. We kept making the lovely people on our production staff, can you please get us some more? And then come back with another box.
Yeah. And if you get in her way, she almost bit my finger off once. So be careful.
That is true.
Well, everybody, it's been fantastic to have this opportunity. I know you're on a whirlwind speaking tour right now, talking to everybody that wants to have just a few minutes of your time about this wonderful production, this great show. My very, very best to each and every one of you. I think it's a great show. I think you guys did a great job. It's a necessary show in the paranormal, and I hope everybody gives it a chance, because if they're not open to this kind of experience or this kind of television show, it's their loss for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
You bet. Thank you for being on my show, and may I hope this goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. God bless you guys.
Yay! Thank you.
Well, wasn't that fun? In this special episode of Necronomicast, here's the next group from the television show Living for the Dead, right about now. All right, everybody. Next up on this whirlwind interview show for the Necronomicast, I have the pleasure of welcoming to the show JuJu Bae, the witch and spirit healer of the show, Ken Boggle, tarot card reader, and we're also joined by Rob Eric, Emmy Award winning executive producer for Living with the Dead, coming out on HULU October 18th. Binge it, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having us, Brian.
The binge is in there. It's a great intro.
Fantastic. Yes. Rob, I'm going to direct this first statement and question to you as being executive producer of this, because I was really struck by this show as I was watching it. I guess your job is kind of conceptualizing and help executing this show. And it is immediately, as soon as I turn it on, so refreshingly different than other paranormal television shows that's out there. So I know that's your aim, kind of bring this freshness to the genre. So you hit it out of the park, and having this talent on my show, what a treat.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very proud of that because my company approaches shows in a way that we want it to stand out. We want it to be different. We want it to be cinematic. We want it to have more character development. And this was certainly a show that, when Kristen Stewart called us about this show, it was the idea of doing gay Scooby-Doo was just awesome. And we wanted it. Kristen shares very much the same sort of creative aesthetic passion that we do. And that's part of the reason we were put together. We wanted it to be beautiful. We wanted it to feel different. And, we've had, and nothing against them at all. We've all watched them. But for so many years, our paranormal shows that we watch have been very sort of like focused, heteronormative focus. It has like a certain lens on it. We wanted to change that lens up and do something different. So if it just looked like everything else, if it just sounded like everything else, we would have missed the point that we were coming into paranormal and sort of ghost hunting with a different perspective and a different eye on how to communicate with spirits.
Sure. I could appreciate that. I've been studying this kind of stuff and following paranormal television and books and research for decades myself. And I've realized over the years that I can't always have my perspective be the only perspective that's out there. I'm a straight white guy from the Midwest. I need other people's experiences. I need their stories. If I'm going to figure out at all what's going on in these mysteries that surround us every day. So what a great concept of having, I just talked to Alex, the ghost hunter, Logan, the psychic, Roz, the paranormal researcher, but JuJu, a witch and spirit healer, and Ken, tarot card reader, to have this diversity on the show of different backgrounds and coming together to try and figure out this mystery with these different backgrounds. It was super fascinating. Especially, I don't know very much about tarot, and I really enjoyed watching you work, JuJu, with your rituals and your spirituals. It was super interesting, and I really appreciate what you guys bring to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I really hope that people can see that we each brought something completely unique that all comes together to form a solid team that is unified in our approach of being respectful to the space, the spirits, but also providing answers, clarity, and advice to the people who are living in these haunted environments. I think a lot of people, look at the show and they see, why on earth would you have a tarot card reader that's just a tarot card reader? And I think that it's just another additive. It's another piece to this 5-person puzzle that really, really brings a level of clarity that you don't find in any other paranormal investigation show. And to have somebody like JuJu who brings in the shells, and my thing was the coins. I'm like, bring the coins back. I literally watched you do this and I was like, what is happening? Because my brain just exploded. Like, how iconic is this? And to see someone do something that's never been done in paranormal television show was beyond refreshing. And I hope that people can see that whatever your talents are, whatever you're good at, it has a place. Don't judge yourself. Don't worry about it. What you're good at has a place in this field. You're welcome here. Bring what you're good at, and let's approach this from a place of unity. Which I think Brian, you totally could understand how there is literally no paranormal unity. It can be a very tough scene to be in, from team member to team member, from team to team. But our team, we made the conscious decision from the jump that we were all 5 in this together, and that we were going to do the best for each other that we could, and the people that we would be affecting.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to be amongst the lineage of TV witches. Like, I'm so glad that this is the space that I get to join the iconic TV witches of television history, and to bring this other aspect of what it means to be a witch, what a witch looks like, what a witch uses, what traditions this witch comes from, I think are very different. And so to infuse that into the paranormal space as, a main character, because there are psychics, there are spiritualists, but they're all often consulted for like 5 minutes in paranormal shows. And then they go back to whatever their witch world. But like, to be a consistent, person in this journey like with things to say and things to offer, and like a different kind of spiritual communication that, you know, sometimes was absent from even the technology aspect, which was this is a different form of technology. I'm excited to be a part of like this lineage.
Well, what's exciting about watching it too, as a different kind of paranormal show in this ever expanding genre, what sets you guys apart though, I think, is a lot of your compassion. It's surprisingly heartfelt. There's also those scares, the creepiness in there that everybody wants from a paranormal show. It's funny. You have a lot of camp in there. I was telling the last group of your talent that I appreciate your unique, the queer camp. I grew up and worked for 25 years in musical theater. So that's old hat to me. And so I really appreciate all of that brought together. And I can really tell, like, there's so much chemistry between you five in your fabulous RV that you're touring around the United States in. But it just seems like a lot of fun. And I think that speaks to how well you get along with each other.
Yeah.
I think, I think every day I thank God that I've been blessed with these people. I mean, it would have been horrific to have gone across country in an RV with people that you didn't like. You know what I mean?
For sure.
For 4 months of your life, you're just on this cramped RV with these people that you're, just suffering through it with. No,
it's usually called a family vacation. That's what
no, we didn't need that. Uncle Ken did not want that. That was not a vibe. But instead, what I was gifted from Scout and the universe were 4 people that I look at every single day and think, my God, I'm so grateful for you. And a genuine, true love that I have for each of them. And it's amazing, just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, to be honest, I went into this, I was like, okay, I'm going to be doing this with a bunch of strangers. We have to get to know each other. I went in with extremely low expectations. And I did, like many things, because I was like, well, let me just go in super low so I can't be disappointed. And my expectations were exceeded. Oh, sorry, I think I might have cut out. It shifted something in me to actually go into things, actually being more positive and showing me what's actually possible from a team of people that I didn't expect any of this from. And so it's been just such a treat for me to get to know these folks individually and collaborate with them, and to also get to know spirits with them. I mean, it's actually really intimate. So it was super dope. I'm so excited, and I can't wait for everyone to see.
I had a lot of fun getting the advanced screenings of them, and I don't say that to brag or anything, but I mean, I was really excited to see them, and then I watched, and I'm like, wow, it's going to be neat to see like the buildup and the reaction to this show, because it is more than just a ghost show, and it can almost be used just like as a metaphor for other things in life. I think Roz had a quote from one of the episodes that I watched: "To deny your true self, it will always haunt you." And Ken, I saw you go through some wonderful expressive moments with a mom who was showing support for her non-binary teen, and you were kind of lamenting but talking about your own background. So it's a very deeply personal show. And when we're talking about paranormal phenomena, I think it's super important to put emphasis on the personal touches, the personal experiences. And you guys do that also well, all you guys.
I think like in my experience with paranormal television, and I say this respectively because a lot of those people are my friends,
mm-hmm.
I think the thing that was missing was the human element. You went in with a static camera, you had your millimeter, you had your K2, you had your EMF detectors, you had all the processes and all the procedures and their approaches. And my thought was, where's the heart? What are you saying to the mom whose child is having their hair pulled? What are you saying to the child to help them to sleep at night? Where's this? And I think Jason Hawes and Grant Wilson have always done a great job of being very professional and providing some heart. But there's never been a team on television that has ever approached this from a place of, let's be compassionate to not just the living, but the dead. Let's give voices to both. Let's bring answers to those who are living in it. And let's leave this situation better than we found it. And I think that is something that's been, it's not the norm in this paranormal industry. And I think it's about time it becomes the norm.
I think a lot of these shows too, they're listening for the dead, but they're not listening for the living. And like, that's part of storytelling. Like, we need to hear each other communicate. We need to hear, what is it that's bothering you? What is it that's bothering me? What's making me happy? What's making me sad? And that's how you get to know each other as just humans, let alone two communities that may not have, and particularly in the Tonopah episode, where we're in a tiny little town and this moment happened just naturally, sitting at the bar, this conversation started. And I don't know if you can hear it in the actual edit, but there's a woman at the end of the bar when all of a sudden it opened up the floor to conversation. She's like, I'm pansexual. And so she was like willing to give that up. And she's living in this tiny town. But that's when you have good people that listen. We actually learn more about each other. So that team was built to listen to not just the dead, but also to the living.
Absolutely. You know, I would just to wrap it up, I know you guys are on this whirlwind press junket, but what's neat about your show is that at its heart, ghost hunting and paranormal exploration is all about like trying to give a voice to those that have lost their voice. And I think what a wonderful concept for a show to give people who have been marginalized traditionally throughout society, those that have kind of not been able to express their voice completely, be the ones that are helping those that have lost their voice reach out. I think it's a great show, great concept, and I'm really thankful for the time that you guys have spent with me for this episode.
I have one thing to ask you though. So you said you were in theater and you've been around gay camp. So you have to say the title of our show with gay camp in your voice. Living for the dead. We are living for the dead.
Living for the dead, honey.
There you go. You definitely graduated from that camp. That's awesome.
Fantastic. Well, God bless you all, and my best to you all, and best of luck. And let's go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Let's go.
Your mouth.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. It's awesome. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
There we go, everybody. Episode 259 of Necronomicast, Living for the Dead, with my friend Ken Boggle, joined by Alex LeMay, Logan Taylor, Roz Hernandez, JuJu Bae, and executive producer Rob Eric. That was tons of fun. Catch them on HULU. And when you're done watching that, have you watched Murder in the 21st yet on A&E? Why, that's the show that features little old me from Necronomicast on the A&E network. How about that? Reviews are coming in, strong reviews. Hope viewership for that is strong as well, so there could be a season 2. Innovative true crime reporting featuring podcasts, social media accounts from those involved. It's incredible. It's incredible to be a part of it. The producers of Murder in the 21st on A&E will be guests on Necronomicast, as well as Chris Holt, director of the new Netflix special, The Devil on Trial. So a lot coming your way on Necronomicast. If you enjoy what you hear, don't be afraid to buy a t-shirt, spread the word, buy me a cup of coffee. And as always, thank you for your listenership, your kind words. Really appreciate it. So, with that, it's time for y'all to go get some sleep.